So this skill and drill is called half plank hip extensions. It's to target the tissue in the back hip. It can get a little bit of the core and also into the shoulder. So the half plank is you want to make sure that your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders, your forearm are parallel with each other, your knees are directly underneath your hip. And then from this position, you're going to have your ankles bent so that your balls of your feet are on the floor. First thing you're going to do is you're going to fire the tush on this side or the opposite side so that your leg lifts up. Just like that, making sure your knee is still bent at 90 degrees, and then slowly lowering it back down. So I'm going to repeat. I'm going to fire the back hip tissue, raising my leg all the way up, and then slowly lowering it back down, and then repeating on the opposite side. I'm going to fire the back hip tissue, knee bent at 90, and then slowly raise it up, and then slowly lower it back down. And then I'm going to repeat. So another variation that you can do is you can do it with your legs straight. So I'm going to be in that same half plank position, forearms parallel with each other, elbows directly underneath my shoulders, knees directly underneath my hips. My ankles are going to be bent, balls of my feet on the floor, one leg is straight. That's the leg that's going to be working. I'm going to fire the back hip tissue so that the leg raises up off of the floor, then slowly lower it back down. I'm going to try that again. I'm going to lift it all the way up using the back hip tissue and then slowly lower it back down. What's going to happen is this back thigh muscle will want to contract. Make sure most of the effort is coming from this back hip stuff. Then you can try it on the opposite side. Leg will be straight, lifting it up by firing the back hip tissue and then lowering it back down. Notice how my foot is dragging against the floor and then it's lifting up, firing the back tissue, and then sliding back to the original position. To stack on top of this, you can actually turn the thigh bone inward or outward before you do the effort. So I'm going to turn my thigh bone inward, so my foot's going to turn out, and then from there I'm going to contract the back hip tissue to raise that leg up. So now my foot is turned out while I raise the leg up, then slowly lowering it back down. I can also turn my thigh bone outward so my foot turns in, hold that position, fire the back hip tissue, and do the exact same thing. I'm going to lift up using the back hip tissue, then slowly lower back down. You can do it with your legs straight and turn your foot inward or turn your foot outward. So I'm going to straighten out my leg, drop my heel outward, hold that position, and then raise up my leg, firing the back hip tissue, then slowly lowering it back down, and then returning to starting position. I can also turn the opposite direction. So I'm straightening out my leg, dropping my heel inward so my foot points out. Hold that position, use my back hip tissue to raise my leg up off of the floor, then slowly lowering it back down.